Hello, students. Let us continue Chapter 17 Forests, our Lifeline. In the previous class, we discussed about the food chain. We learned that every part of the forest is dependent on the other parts. Let us continue reading. Professor Ahmed asked children to pick up leaves from the forest floor and observe them under a hand lens. They found tiny mushrooms over the decaying leaves. They also saw an army of insects, millipedes, ants, and beetle on them. They were wondering how these organisms live there. Professor Ahmed explained that apart from these animals, which are easily seen, there are several organisms and microorganisms that live in the soil. Paheli wondered what mushroom and other microorganisms eat. Professor Ahmed replied that they feed upon the dead plant and animal tissues and convert them into a dark colored substance called humus. You may recall that the children packed a few things like knife, hand lens, notebook, etc. for their visit to the forest. So, using that hand lens, the children observed the leaves that they picked up from the forest floor. So, when they observed the leaf, they found out that there were tiny mushrooms that were growing on the decaying leaves. They also found tiny insects, millipedes, ants, and beetles on the leaves. ये देखकर बच्चे सोचने लगे कि ये सारे इंसेक्ट्स ऑर्गेनिजम्स एक्सेट्रा कैसे रह पाते हैं इन लीव्स पर. So, Professor explained that there are other organisms and microorganisms that live in the soil apart from these animals, like tiny insects and beetle. So, dead plants and animal tissues are their food. They feed upon dead plants and animal tissues and they convert them into dark colored substance called humus. You have learned about humus in chapter 9. In which layer of the soil would you find humus? What is its importance to the soil? You have already learned about humus in chapter 9. What is humus? It is a dark colored substance found in the soil. Humus is made from dead and decaying organisms. The microorganisms live upon the decaying matter and convert it into humus. This you have already studied. And you know that the humus can be seen in the top layer of the soil. The microorganisms which convert the dead plants and animals to humus are known as decomposers. These microorganisms play an important role in the forest. Soon, Paheli removed some dead leaves and discovered under them a layer of humus on forest floor. The presence of humus ensures that the nutrients of the dead plants and animals are released into the soil. From there, these nutrients are again absorbed by the roots of the living plants. What happens if an animal dies in the forest? Sheila asked. Tibu replied that dead animals become food for vultures, crows, jackals, and insects. In this way, the nutrients are cycled. So nothing goes waste in a forest. First of all, the question is, what are decomposers? Decomposers are animals that feed on dead and decaying plants and animals and convert them into humus. Here in figure 17.9, you can see the interrelationship of plant, soil and decomposers in a forest. The nutrients present in the soil are used by plants, insects, and microorganisms. When they die, their remains are turned into organic matter by decomposers. This keeps the soil fertile in forest and recycles the nutrients. Paheli reminded Professor Ahmed that he had not explained why forests are called green lungs. Professor Ahmed explained that the plants release oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. The plants help to provide oxygen for animal respiration. They also maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That is why forests are called lungs. Here in the figure we are shown balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We know that plants take up carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. Carbon dioxide is exhaled by animals and it is taken by plants and they give out oxygen instead, which is inhaled by animals. So plants in the forest provide oxygen to animals and animals provide carbon dioxide to plants. In this way, a balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide is maintained in the atmosphere in forest. This is why forests are called green lungs. The children saw clouds forming in the sky. Bujo recalled what he had learned about the water cycle in class 6. Trees take in water from their roots and release water vapor into the air through evaporation. If there were fewer trees, how will the water cycle be affected? When the children saw the clouds forming in the sky, they recalled that they had learned about water cycle and how trees take in water from the roots and this water is released in the form of water vapor into the air through evaporation. Here we are asked how will the water cycle be affected if there are fewer trees. So, just like we read, plants absorb water from the earth and release into the atmosphere by transpiration, which finally condense and form clouds, and it is precipitated on earth. So, in absence of trees, it will affect the water cycle, that is the absence of trees affect the water cycle and the rate of precipitation will decrease, that is there will be decrease in rainfall if there are fewer trees. Tibu told them that the forest is not just home to plants and animals. Many people also live in the forest. Some of them may belong to different tribes. Tibu explained that these people depend mostly on the forests. The forests provide them with food, shelter, water, and medicines. They have traditional knowledge about many medicinal plants in the forest. Tibu, who joined the children in their journey to the forest, told them that forest सिर्फ plants और animals का घर नहीं है. Then who else live in the forest? Yes, people from different tribes live in the forest. These people are dependent upon the forest for food, water, shelter, and medicines. Because they live in the forest, they have knowledge about the medicinal uses of many plants in the forest. While Bujo was drinking water from a small stream, he saw some deer crossing the stream. They disappeared into the bushes. The dense bushes and the tall grass provide animal with the food and shelter. They also protect them from carnivores that live in the forest. Here in the figure, you can see deer in a forest. Buju saw a deer crossing the stream while he was drinking water from the stream. They were going far into the bushes and they disappeared there. With this, we can say that the dense bushes and tall grasses provide food and shelter to various kinds of animals. They also protect herbivores from carnivorous animals that live in the forest. Tibu then started looking closely at the forest floor. Soon he called and showed the children droppings of some animals and explained the difference between various types of droppings. Professor Ahmed informed them that the forest officers would recognize the presence of some animals in the forest by their droppings and footprints. Tibu looked closely at the forest floor and he observed something. He observed droppings of some animals. So he called the children in order to explain them the difference between various types of droppings. Droppings means the excrement or excreta of animals. With the help of these droppings, the forest officers would recognize the presence of some animals in the forest. They would also take the help of the footprints to identify the presence of animals in the forest. Buju called everyone and showed them a large decaying heap of animal dropping. Several beetles and grubs were feeding on the heap, and a bunch of seedlings was sprouting. These seedlings are of herbs and shrubs. There was a heap of animal dropping that Bujo observed in the forest. Tiny insects such as beetles and grubs were feeding on this heap of animal dropping. Grub is the larva of an insect, especially a beetle. It is similar to a caterpillar. Nearby the heap, there were seedlings that were sprouting. यानी कि young plants थे that was sprouting. They were seedlings of herbs and shrubs. The animals also disperse the seeds of certain plants and help the forest to grow and regenerate. The decaying animal dung also provides nutrients to the seedlings to grow, said Professor Ahmed. We have learned about the dispersion of seeds, and we know that animals disperse the seeds of certain plants. In this way, they help the forest to grow and regenerate. Animal dung provides nutrients, that is, it acts as manure for the seedlings to grow in the forest. After listening to this, Bujo noted in his notebook, by harboring greater variety of plants, the forest provides greater opportunities for food and habitat for the herbivores. Larger number of herbivores means increased availability of food for a variety of carnivores. The wide variety of animals help the forest to regenerate and grow. Decomposers help in maintaining the supply of nutrients to the growing plants in the forest. Therefore, the forest is a dynamic living entity full of life and vitality. When Bujo listened to what Professor Ahmed told about how the decaying animal dung provide nutrients to seedlings to grow and how animals disperse the seeds of certain plants and they help the forest to grow and regenerate, he noted down something in his notebook. All the organisms, whether they are plants or animals, depend on each other and help each other to survive in the forest. The carnivores are dependent on the herbivores. The decaying matter of dead animals, plants, and their excreta enable the growth of more plants by providing them with nutrients to grow. The decomposers decay the dead matter in the forest and support the growth of plants. Hence, forests are called dynamic living entity. It was about afternoon and the children wanted to go back. Tibu suggested another route for going back. While they were going back, it started raining. However, surprisingly, they saw that the raindrops were not hitting the forest directly. The uppermost layer of the forest canopy intercepted the flow of raindrops, and most of the water was coming down through the branches and the stems of the trees. From the leaves, it was dripping slowly over branches of the shrubs and herbs. They found that the ground was still dry. After about half an hour, the rain stopped. They noticed that the layer of dead leaves over the forest floor appeared wet now, but water did not stagnate in the forest. After a few hours, the children wanted to go back home as it was about afternoon. They took another route for going back as suggested by Tibu. It started raining, and they observed that the raindrops did not hit the forest floor directly because of the uppermost layer of the forest. Here in figure 17.13, you can see rainwater drips from the trees and seeps into the ground. Because of the canopy, most of the water was not hitting the forest floor directly. In fact, they were coming down to branches and leaves of the trees. The water was dripping slowly over the branches of the shrubs and herbs. The rain stopped half an hour later, and after the rain, the layer of dead leaves appeared wet. That is, they absorbed the water, and because of this, there was no stagnant water in the forest. That is, there were no small puddles of water in the ground. Buju thought that if it had rained so heavily in his town, it would have flooded the drains and roads. What would happen if it rains heavily in your town? In the towns, the drains and roads would have flooded if it rained for half an hour. It is a common sight after the rain. Also, you can see puddles of water here and there on the road or water filled in the potholes. Heavy rainfall can lead to numerous hazards, for example, flooding, including risk to human life, damage to buildings and infrastructures in the town. Professor Ahmed told them that the forest also acts as a natural absorber of rainwater and allows it to seep in. Professor Ahmed told them that the forest also acts as a natural absorber of rainwater and allows it to seep. It helps maintain the water table throughout the year. Forests not only help in controlling floods but also help maintain the flow of water in the streams so that we get a steady supply of water. On the other hand, if trees are not present, rain hits the ground directly and may flood the area around it. Heavy rain may also damages the soil. Roots of trees normally bind the soil together, but in their absence, the soil is washed away or eroded. Forest acts as a natural absorber of water, and they allow the rainwater to seep into the earth, into the ground. As a result, the water table of the area near the forest is high. The forest controls the flow of water and prevents floods. This is because the plants and trees prevent the rainwater from directly flowing away. In this way, forest allows a regulator supply of water to the nearby streams. Also, the roots of the plants bind the soil and prevent it from flowing away during heavy rainfall. Hence, they also prevent soil erosion. The children spent an hour at Tibu's village on their way back. The weather of the village was quite pleasant. Villagers told them due to the surrounding forest they received good rainfall. The air also remained cool. Noise pollution too is less because the forest absorbs the noise of the nearby highway. The children felt that the weather of Tibu's village was pleasant as they spent an hour there. They also came to know that because of the forest, the villagers receive good amount of rainfall. The areas surrounding the forest generally have a cool climate and receive a good rainfall. The forest also absorb loud sounds of vehicles on the highways nearby and hence prevent noise pollution in the areas nearby. The children learnt about the history of the village. It surprised them that the villages and the agricultural fields of that area were created after clearing the forest about 60 years ago. Tibu's grandfather told them that when he was young, the village was not as large as it is now. It was also surrounded by forest. Construction of roads, buildings, industrial development, and increasing demand of wood created pressure on the forest and it started vanishing. He was not happy that the forest adjoining their village is not regenerating and it is on the verge of disappearing due to overgrazing of animals and indiscriminate felling of trees. Professor Ahmed said that if we did things wisely, we could preserve forest and environment as well as have development. Here you are given about the history of Tibu's village. When his grandfather was young, back then the village was not as large as it is now because the area was created after cleaning the forest about 60 years ago. The village was surrounded by forest. The forest started vanishing as construction of roads began, buildings, industrial development, and increasing demand of wood. It led to deforestation. The forest that surrounded the village was not regenerating, that is, it was not regrowing. And because of excessive cutting of trees and overgrazing of animals, the forest was almost disappearing. Now, what is deforestation? Demolishing the forest on a large scale is called deforestation. Human beings undergo this process in order to find more space for extending their habitats. However, this leads to several ill effects, such as many animals and plants lose their natural habitat, being unable to find a suitable environment to live, they may die or become extinct eventually. Hence, deforestation results in loss of biodiversity. It will lead to changes in the climate. So, it is necessary that we preserve forest. If we act wisely, we can preserve forest and the environment and we could also have development. Children prepared a few pictures to show the consequences of such an event. At the end of the visit, Professor Ahmed asked children to sum up the importance of forest. The children wrote, forests provide us with oxygen. They protect soil and provide habitat to a large number of animals. Forests help in bringing good rainfall in neighboring areas. They are a source of medicinal plants, timber, and many other useful products. We must preserve our forests. Once the children understood the importance of preserving forest and environment, they prepared some pictures to show the consequences of cutting down trees and clearing forests. Lastly, at the end of the visit, Professor Ahmed asked the children to write about the importance of forest. The children now know that forests are a natural habitat of a wide variety of animals and plants. They help in regulating the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. They prevent global warming by keeping the air clean as they take in all the carbon dioxide. They regulate the water cycle on the earth. They prevent air, water, land, and noise pollutions in some or the other way. So, we must preserve our forests. Here in figure, we are given what would happen if forests disappear. If forests disappear, the amount of carbon dioxide in air will increase, resulting in the increase of Earth's temperature. In the absence of trees and plants, the animals will not get food and shelter. In the absence of trees, the soil will not hold water, which will cause floods. Deforestation will endanger our life and environment. Think what we can do to preserve our forests. So these are the things that will happen if forests disappear, as we discussed. And now we know that plants absorb carbon dioxide. So if there are no enough trees, then the amount of carbon dioxide in the air will increase, and this will lead to an increase in the earth's temperature, eventually leading to global warming. In the absence of trees, animals will not get food and shelter, which will lead to the extinction of animals. In the absence of trees, the soil will not hold water, which will cause floods. We know that trees also prevent soil erosion. So, this soil helps in holding water. So, in the absence of trees, there will be soil erosion and the soil will not hold water. And because of this, the absence of trees can cause floods. Because of deforestation, many animals and plants will lose their natural habitat. Again, being unable to find suitable environment, they may die or they will become extinct. So, we should think about what we can do in order to preserve our forests, because forests are our lifeline.